FREENBECKY, where love carries us into the new year. When love becomes a way of moving forward. Some relationships feel like destinations. You arrive, you stop, you settle. Others feel like motion. FREENBECKY belongs to the second kind. Their connection doesn't feel like something that locks you in place. It feels like something that moves with you, through seasons, through uncertainty, through growth. That's why, when a new year arrives, people don't feel like they're leaving something behind when they think of Freen and Becky. They feel like they're bringing something with them. Love in this form isn't static. Doesn't cling. It doesn't resist time. It adapts without losing itself. And that adaptability is exactly what makes it strong enough to cross from one year into another. The difference between hope and pressure. The new year is often framed as hopeful. But hope, when forced, becomes pressure. People are told, "This is your year. You must be better. You must heal. You must succeed. You must move on." That kind of hope can feel suffocating. What FREENBECKY offers is a softer version. Hope without demand. They don't represent transformation through force. They represent transformation through continuity. They show that you can enter a new year. Still unsure. Still learning. Still healing. Still becoming. And still be worthy of love. Why carrying matters more than leading? There is a subtle but important difference between leading someone forward and carrying them forward. Leading implies direction. Carrying implies care. FREENBECKY doesn't feel like a force that pulls fans toward a future they aren't ready for. Their energy feels like something that supports people as they take steps at their own pace. That's why fans say things like, "They give me strength without pressure. They make me feel like it's okay to take my time. They don't make love feel scary." As a new year begins, that distinction matters deeply. Because not everyone wants to be pushed into the future. Some people just want to be held while they move. The new year as a threshold, not a reset button. The idea of the new year as a reset is misleading. Life doesn't reset. Grief doesn't reset. Love doesn't reset. Identity doesn't reset. What actually happens is a threshold crossing. You step from one year into the next carrying everything you already are. FREENBECKY's story aligns perfectly with this truth. They don't pretend the past disappears. They don't erase what came before. They don't reinvent themselves for a new chapter. They carry their connection forward intact. That teaches fans something vital. You don't need to erase your past to deserve a future. Why quiet love feels louder at the start of a year? At the beginning of a year, everything feels amplified. Expectations are louder. Comparisons are harsher. Noise is constant. In that environment, quiet love doesn't disappear, it stands out. FREENBECKY's bond feels louder precisely because it doesn't compete for attention. It exists calmly, confidently, without urgency. That contrast is powerful. While others shout about new beginnings, FREENBECKY demonstrates emotional endurance. They remind people that love doesn't need to announce itself to remain relevant. Entering the year with someone who doesn't rush you. Time moves fast. People move fast. The world moves fast. What makes FREENBECKY comforting is that they don't. Their interactions feel paced. Their presence feels intentional. Their connection feels patient. As fans enter a new year, many are exhausted. Not from lack of ambition, but from constant acceleration. FREENBECKY's energy feels like walking beside someone who adjusts their stride to match yours. That kind of companionship is rare. The queer weight of crossing another year. For LGBTQ+ people, surviving another year is not neutral. It carries relief, fatigue, pride, fear, hope, sometimes all at once. FREENBECKY's presence matters here not because they symbolize perfection, but because they symbolize possibility without performance. They don't frame queerness as tragedy. They don't frame it as rebellion. They don't frame it as spectacle. They frame it as human. Crossing into a new year with that representation feels grounding. It says, you can exist quietly and still matter. You can love gently and still be real. Why fans feel less alone with them? Loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. It comes from feeling unseen. FREENBECKY's bond makes many fans feel seen, not through direct address but through reflection. People see their own longing for calm, their own desire for stability, their own need for safety, their own hope for love that doesn't disappear. And when the new year arrives, a time when loneliness often sharpens, that reflection becomes deeply comforting. Love that doesn't panic at the future. Some relationships feel fragile when the future is uncertain. FREENBECKY's does not. Their connection doesn't feel like it's racing against time or milestones. It doesn't feel anxious about what comes next. It feels grounded in the present, and that grounding is what allows it to move forward without fear. As the year changes, that calm becomes contagious. Fans feel it. They breathe easier. They trust that not everything needs to be decided immediately. Carrying love instead of carrying fear. Many people enter a new year carrying fear. Fear of repeating mistakes. A fear of being alone. A fear of falling behind. A fear of being unlovable. FREENBECKY offers an alternative emotional weight. They carry a mutual respect, emotional steadiness, quiet assurance. And that shift from fear to gentleness changes how people approach the year ahead. When love isn't a promise, but a presence. One of the reasons FREENBECKY feels so enduring is that they don't rely on promises. They rely on presence. Presence is harder than promises. Presence requires consistency. Presence requires awareness. Presence requires care. As a new year begins, presence matters more than declarations. And FREENBECKY embodies that presence naturally, stepping forward without letting go. The most beautiful part of Where Love Carries Us into the New Year is not the destination. It's the movement. FREENBECKY doesn't cling to the past. They don't fear the future. They move together with trust. That movement feels like permission. Permission to take your time, bring your whole self, and not have everything figured out. Still be worthy of connection. A love that doesn't need the clock's approval. Midnight passes. The calendar changes. The world resets its expectations. But love like this doesn't need the clock's approval. FREENBECKY's connection exists independently of dates and deadlines. And that's why it crosses into the new year intact, not as a spectacle but as a constant. Conclusion. Being carried is enough. Not everyone enters a new year feeling strong. Some enter tired. Some enter uncertain. Some enter quietly hoping things won't hurt as much. For those people, FREENBECKY doesn't offer solutions. They offer companionship. And sometimes being carried, gently, consistently without pressure, is enough to take the next step.